Welcome to the law, your money, and you. I'm Roberta Saphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts, New England, USA.
And I'm Camille, Barron, a financial advisor and healthcare advocate. And we have a guest today who's going to share some important information with us.
Yes, this is very exciting. And welcome to Michelle Morris, a very lyrical name. Welcome, Michelle. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, I'm Michelle Morris, and I am a fee-only financial planner. I live and work in Quincy, and I specialize in working with single women, helping them make sense of their money and their taxes.
Wonderful.
Oh, working with single women. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Just out of curiosity for people who may not realize, what's the difference between a fee-only financial planner and others who are not compensated that way?
Yeah, a fee-only financial planner is compensated.
What financial
fee-only.
Fee-only?
Oh, fee-only. Oh, okay. I didn't get that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Fee-only financial planners, we are compensated only by our clients. So my compensation comes from my client's pocket, as opposed to other types of financial planners who may be compensated from selling products.
By the companies.
Right.
Okay.
So it's I don't sell any products.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. It's not a commission based.
You can be totally unbiased that way, right?
I think it's a bit more transparent, to be honest with you. Yeah. So what I recommend is, I don't gain from my recommendations. I'm not selling a product. I'm just selling my expertise.
How long have you been doing that?
About 8 years.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's how long Camille's been doing. No, you've been doing financial advice and the Medicare for much longer than that.
The insurance, yes, that's been
Yeah.
the Medicare is probably about 9 years, but insurance in general, it's been more than I want to admit.
About 78 years. Feels
Not
like
quite.
it. Yeah.
You started when
go
you were.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's really about all. I really enjoy the work I do. I like getting to know my clients pretty well, and I really enjoy it. I help.
That's so wonderful.
So today, you're going to tell us a little bit about the stock market, because people, I know we run into people sometimes, unless they're actively trading on the stock market, or at least monitoring all of their investments, they may not know enough about it to feel like they are in control of what they have and where and why.
Exactly.
So you might be able to tell our viewers a little bit more about how they can just get some basic understanding.
I hope so. Great. Thank you.
Let's start with a basic question. What is a stock?
Well, a share of a stock represents ownership in the company. So stocks are also called equities. Equity is another word for ownership. And so when you buy a share of stock, you are a shareholder, and the shareholders are the ones who own the company. So when you buy a stock, you own a little teeny slice of the company. And shareholders, owners, have claim on future earnings of that company. And oftentimes the company pays out those earnings in the form of dividends. And so that comes back to you, the shareholder.
So do you think, like, if you own some stock in GE or General Motors and you get a notice that there's a stockholders meeting, how many people actually go to those things?
I don't think very many small investors go to those things. I don't
But
have any.
They could if they wanted to?
Yeah.
Shows you I don't know really much about the stock market. That's my husband's.
And so maybe on the other side of the coin, just to sort of round this out a little bit, what is a bond versus a stock?
Good question.
Yeah. When you buy a bond, you aren't an owner. You're loaning money to the company or to the government, like when you buy a treasury bond. And the way the bond works is you loan the entity the money, and they pay you interest. And when the bond matures, they pay back your principal.
It's like a CD in a bank?
I think that would be a good Similar, yeah.
I see mostly town of such and such bonds, this
Yeah.
one's bonds. So,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, because if they said stock, you would own part of the town.
Right,
Is that it?
right.
Yeah.
So government, you can't buy stock in the government, but you
Huh.
can buy bonds. As you mentioned, for towns, those are called municipal bonds.
Oh, yeah, municipal bonds.
And then the federal government sells lots of treasury bonds to,
Oh, yeah, treasury bonds.
finance the government.
We used to buy, what did we used to give when somebody had a birthday or something for the treasury?
Savings bonds.
Savings bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Do they still do that? I haven't heard about that in a long time.
Yeah. There's a particular type of savings bond that I really like called the I bond, and that stands for inflation-linked savings bond.
Really?
Yeah, and when you buy it, the amount of interest that the government pays you, it's adjusted every 6 months according to inflation. So if inflation were to really spike up like we saw in the 70s, the interest rate on those bonds would go right up along with the inflation.
Oh, that's good.
Do you ever recommend those bonds?
I do.
Really?
I own quite a few I bonds myself, and I recommend them to my clients.
What's their interest rate about now?
I think the most recent interest rate on the I bonds was 2.83%.
Oh, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Instead of 18% or 15%, you think we'll ever see days like that?
We might. I don't know. We've seen that. We've seen it in our lifetimes, right? Double-digit inflation.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, but if we do, the I bond interest will match it.
Oh, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
haven't even heard of an I bond.
Yeah, I like
the
that.
next
It's
thing.
a type of savings bond.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Why should I buy stocks?
Well, I believe that most people in their portfolio should own at least some stocks, and it's for the simple reason that most of us need to grow our money. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I was not born into wealth. I did not marry wealth. I don't buy lottery tickets.
Boy, you missed it. you missed everything.
So I think most people are like me, or not born rich or married wealth, and so we need to grow our wealth. We need to save our money, and we need to grow our wealth. And basically, stocks they're the growth engine of our portfolios. They have outperformed bonds over time. And that's kind of the key words there, is over
What an
time.
interesting expression, a growth engine.
Yeah.
Do people in your portfolio also consider real estate holdings as part of a portfolio, or it's just stock, or what? Cash?
I do think about real estate. For most people, it's their home that they own. They may also own other real estate properties. Another way that you can invest in real estate without actually buying the building and the land is through what's called a REIT. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Spell that.
It's REIT. It stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. And it's a bit like a stock in that you can buy them on the market, and then what you're buying is little pieces of lots of properties. When you buy
I'm learning a lot
REIT.
today.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Real estate investment trust.
Yeah. So
Where do you find those?
you can buy them. A lot of them are publicly traded, which means you could buy them. I'm going to talk about a mutual fund, what a mutual fund is, but you can buy real estate investment trust mutual funds at a place, for example, like Vanguard or Fidelity, or kind of any place that has mutual funds. They will often have the REIT mutual funds, R-E-I-T. Yeah.
I have a new word.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely real estate is another asset class.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's one that people are familiar with, you know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What when people ask if they're interested in buying stock, and they say, "Well, which one should I buy?" How do you navigate through that?
That's a very good question, because, you know, we hear on the news, and you maybe meet somebody at a cocktail party that says you should buy this hot stock. Well, I'm of the belief that I really don't know what the next hot stock is. I really don't. And it's in large part because I don't have the crystal ball.
Yes, so we're looking at this crystal ball right
Oh,
now.
nice picture.
Yeah, and I don't. This
You're not
lady.
that like that woman?
No,
Is that a
I
real
mean,
lady?
this is not. No, this
Yeah.
is not me. Unfortunately,
Looks
I
like a-
ordered a crystal ball and it was broken. So,
I guess that's a sign from above.
so I don't have the crystal ball to really know what the next hot stock is. So honestly, what I really recommend to clients is you buy all the stocks. And I know that sounds like you got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
But
you've got to be kidding.
Yeah. So
You've got to be kidding.
yeah, you've got to be kidding, but I'm not kidding actually.
Oh, really?
So let's talk about, for example, in the United States, let's talk about some of the biggest stocks that we have, some of the biggest companies in our country.
And they are.
Yeah, so do you have
down
any, can you take a guess on what the biggest stock, this was as of March
Biggest
31st,
company?
biggest company in the United States is?
Google, Microsoft.
You're very close.
Amazon?
Oh, you said it.
Amazon?
It's Microsoft.
Oh, it's
Microsoft.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
not Amazon anymore?
It's in the top 10.
Oh,
Yeah, so the biggest company right now in our country, in the
Really?
United States, is Microsoft.
How do you measure the biggest company?
yeah.
You take the number of stock shares outstanding, you multiply it by the price of the share, and that number, that's called the market capitalization, market cap for short. That's the total value of the company. That's how they measure that.
And they would be a large
Really?
cap.
That's a large cap. So cap,
large
again,
cap.
is short for capitalization. So these are large cap, large capitalization stocks. Yeah, so the biggest one is Microsoft, okay?
Boy,
I mean,
yeah.
who doesn't use Microsoft products?
Everybody.
Right. Do you know what number 2 is?
Amazon?
That's Apple.
Oh, Apple.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Apple,
lots of us
course.
have iPhones, iPads,
Right.
you name it, right?
Yeah.
Apple does not do the iBond, however. That's a separate thing.
What do they do?
They do
Yes, they-
iPhones, iPads,
Oh, just computers. and stuff.
yeah. The Macintosh computer.
Oh, yeah.
Then is Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Amazon. We got
giant
Amazon.
company.
They're growing. They're
Exactly.
growing. Well, I know stuff that I bought years ago.
Yeah.
The places aren't even around. You just go on Amazon and there it is.
I know they've completely disrupted retail.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, completely disrupted retail in this country. Yeah. Next is they're now called Alphabet, but it's really
Alphabet?
Google.
They're
Yeah.
called
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
saw
Google,
that.
Google is not Google anymore?
No,
yeah,
yeah,
they're
it's
called
the
Alphabet.
alphabet.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
don't
saw
really know
that
why.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's hard to remember.
So these are
though.
the biggest companies in the United States, large cap stocks. Then we have
They're all
Facebook.
computers, except for
Facebook.
Amazon.
I think the law
Oh,
your
yeah,
money and you is on
Facebook.
Facebook,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I'm
I
on
thought you were going to
Facebook.
say we're one of the largest companies.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
you are.
Not yet.
Yeah.
We will be.
Next we have this is the 6th largest company, Berkshire Hathaway,
Oh, yeah,
which is
Warren
also it's
Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've heard of Warren Buffett. He's one of the richest men in the world.
Yeah.
Some people think it's a buffet when they go to
I
eat.
know.
Warren Buffet.
Where is that located? Warren?
Yeah, in Warren. He's in Warren, Rhode Island. now.
He's in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
Still lives in the house that he bought 40 years ago. Very modest home. Buys his suits off the rack. Pretty frugal guy. Johnson & Johnson. That's the next
Oh,
biggest
yeah.
company. So shampoo, so on and
Baby,
so forth.
baby stuff.
Next we have ExxonMobil. So
Really,
at
Exxon.
the moment, most of us are putting gas in our cars, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting because with
Yeah.
all of the green energy.
yeah, they-
Yeah,
now
so
you
who
wonder.
knows? Will ExxonMobil be big in 10 years? I don't know. I really don't know. Next we have JP Morgan Chase.
Yeah, everybody's
bank.
heard of them.
Yeah. These are all ones that everybody's heard of for the most part. And then the 10th largest stock is Visa. We probably
yeah,
have one in our
Visa.
pocketbook, along with maybe our iPhone from Apple.
Except as a creditor, a vendor that accepts credit cards, Visa, MasterCard is always together.
That's
in other
true,
words,
yeah.
In other words, if you accept Visa, it's Visa, MasterCard.
That's a good point.
But yet they're not. Visa is not.
I don't know about
also
MasterCard where it falls in the.
So MasterCard isn't part of Visa.
Not
I'm
a-
surprised.
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Called Visa, MasterCard. Interesting.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. So these are like big stocks, big companies, large cap, as you said. And honestly, I and my clients own all of these, but I don't buy them individually.
Now, important question.
Yeah.
Is that cardstock or pieces of paper cut up?
Cardstock. That's a very
interesting.
important question.
Right.
Yeah, actually, it comes 4 to a sheet, and it's perforated.
Oh, nice.
That's interesting. That's very nice.
Yeah, I'll send you the info if you
So
want.
the people who own the paper and everything, how come their stock isn't up here too?
Well,
Or is it?
it's probably in there somewhere. So there's the way I like to buy stocks. So instead of buying these individually, I buy them. This is my ice bucket. That's my visual
is that
aid.
adorable?
Yeah.
Mutual funds.
Yeah. So what a
Oh.
mutual fund is, it's like a bucket of stocks.
Oh,
Okay.
you make it so easy to understand because
try.
that's hard. Yeah, that's good.
I try.
Bucket.
I use my bucket quite a bit for different visual aids, but I never actually put ice in it. Maybe next time I'll come and bring ice and we'll all have a little.
We can put some in our water.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But,
Fascinating.
yeah, so instead of buying these stocks individually, you can buy them in a mutual fund. And so one of the mutual funds that I mentioned, and of course I'm not saying you should run out and buy this, but there's a mutual fund that Vanguard puts out. It's called the Total Stock Index Fund, and it's essentially the entire U.S. stock market.
Really?
Yeah, and let me check my notes here. They have, I want to say 3,000. Yes, the Total Stock Market Index Fund. This is U.S. only. 3,615 stocks. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, so that's what I mean when I say buy all of them. Yeah.
Oh, so you buy in one fund and one
Yeah.
fund has.
You could.
You can't lose that way, can you?
Some of those stocks are going to do really well. You know, some of them are. Some of them are going to be dogs.
Yeah.
I don't know which ones, because again, my crystal ball is broken.
Yeah.
Nobody else has a crystal ball either. and this is the other illustration that I like to show people. I say to
love it.
people, don't look for the needle in the haystack. Don't look for the
is that
next hot
cute?
stock. Yeah, just buy the haystack. Buy
Yeah.
the whole.
Buy the whole haystack.
Yeah.
Don't look for the needle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
Another great saying.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So those were the top 10 stocks that I just went through, the biggest 10. But just for fun, I scrolled through that list of the 3,000, and I just picked out like the number 400th stock. And it's something that probably nobody's heard of. It's called Atmos Energy, and they're a natural gas distributor. I don't know anything about Atmos Energy, nothing whatsoever, but they are a publicly traded stock,
Interesting.
and they're in the bucket.
Isn't that
So there's
interesting?
smaller companies that a few people have probably heard of, probably the people who work there. But they're not the Facebooks, they're not the Googles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
So you like mutual funds
I do.
because it sort of mitigates risk of buying an individual stock.
Right. So have you heard this saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket?
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
So with a mutual fund, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, you're putting eggs in thousands of baskets.
And other than the large cap funds, do you also put in some of the small caps and other
I do.
sectors of the market?
I do. The Total Stock Market Index Fund that I mentioned actually has the whole market, the large companies and all the way down to the small companies. But you bring up a good point about small companies. That's really where you can get a lot of growth in your portfolio. And I do have this chart that I like to show clients. This is a line chart. I have to put my
Nice
glasses
line
on.
chart.
Thank you.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, so basically what this chart shows, I'm sorry, let me just find my notes. Okay, so this chart shows different asset classes from 1926 to 2018. Okay, so that's a
Wow.
really long time. That's 92
And what kind of
years.
chart is that again?
It's called a line chart.
Oh, line chart. But I
Yeah.
mean, what does it show?
Well, so it shows that if you took $1, just $1, and invested it in different asset classes in 1926, how much it would have grown in 92 years to 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's the top one?
Well, the top one, which is this pink line, is small company stocks, which you just mentioned.
Yeah.
This is going to blow your mind. It blows my mind every time I look at it. $1 in 1926, just in small company stocks, grows to $32,000.
Wow.
Boy.
Yeah, a little over.
Well, $1 in 1926 was probably worth $32,000.
Right.
Just kidding.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm
it's
just
it's
kidding.
good that you bring that up, because if you look at the bottom line on the chart, the kind of maroon circles,
Yeah.
that's inflation.
Oh.
Okay? So from 1926 to 2018, the inflation number ends up at $14. So what that means is in 2018, it takes $14 to buy what $1 bought
Oh, isn't that
92 years
interesting?
ago. But you can see from this chart that stocks over time beat inflation.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
really.
fascinating?
Yeah.
And what are
then
the others on that chart?
the others on this chart are bonds, actually.
Second in line?
Yep. So we have the blue X's. Those are U.S. Treasury bonds.
Yeah.
And then this bottom, almost to the bottom line, it says Treasury bills. You know, Treasury bills, government bonds, you know, kind of a secure sort of thing.
Is a treasury bill like a $5 bill?
No, a Treasury
what
bill
else?
is a bond that the U.S. government sells that matures in, I want to say less than a year, but it might
Really?
be less than 2 years, a very short-term bond. So the Treasury bills, if you put $1 in those in 1926, that would have grown to $21.20, 92 years later,
Yeah.
compared to those thousands of dollars for stocks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, question came up recently, exchange traded funds, ETFs. Can you explain that?
I can try.
Yeah, and then we're going into you've got to be kidding.
Already?
Already?
Yeah.
I told you it'd be fast.
Yes, I should say yeah. One of our viewers says, stop saying yeah, say
An,
yes.
an exchange traded fund is pretty similar to a mutual fund in that it's a bucket of items. When you buy a mutual fund, you can't trade it during the day. If you want to sell your mutual fund, you have to wait until the end of the day when they come up with the value, and then you get whatever that amount is at the end of the day. With an exchange traded fund, the price floats throughout the day like an individual stock, so you could sell it at 1 p.m.
What's an exchange traded fund? I mean, give an example.
It's similar to a mutual fund. So you could actually buy the total stock market index fund. You could buy it as a mutual fund with those 3,000 stocks, or you could buy it at Vanguard as an ETF, exchange traded
With the
fund.
same.
Yeah.
Oh,
basically.
so what's the advantage of the ETF?
Personally, I don't think there is a tremendous advantage to the ETF. Some people say, well, the problem with mutual funds is if you decide at 2 o'clock you want to sell, you don't really know what your price is going to be until 6,
right.
after closing. I'm not too concerned about short-term trading and short-term price gyrations. So to me, that's not a perceived advantage. ETFs tend to be very tax efficient, which is kind of a topic for another day, a big topic. But a lot of mutual funds are tax efficient as well.
Well, that's a perfect place to halt.
Okay.
And we know there's lots more that you could be talking with us about.
Do you ever do anything with Minions?
I
You're supposed to
haven't
say
even
you've got to be kidding.
I haven't even seen the movie.
Oh, well, this is just a Minion bag.
Oh, okay.
Minions are our friends. We love Minions. I do. Anyway, here's the You've Got to Be Kidding bag. They just brought us a new You've Got to Be Kidding bag.
Oh my.
And what we have in there, we took out before because Camille says you've got a great You've Got to Be Kidding story.
Yeah, and the reason I'm suggesting this is because people sometimes feel a little inadequate that maybe they're not managing their money as well as they should. Maybe they're spending more than they should. That's something we really shouldn't have. is our vocabulary.
Yeah.
But I thought you might like to share that you're not immune from any of that either.
Right.
And what are we looking at here?
Well, this is me when there was lots of snow on the ground, wearing my new camel-colored coat and my new leopard scarf and my new leopard gloves and my new leopard hat and my shiny snowflake brooch.
You were leopardized.
Well, it all started because my black coat, I decided it was no good anymore, although it probably was just fine. And I went to the store and I found this coat and I said, "Do you have this in black?" And she said, "No, but just try the camel on. You can try it on for size and we'll order it." And I tried it on, and I've never worn a camel thing in my life. I always wear black types. And she said, "It looks really good on you." And I said, "Great, I'll order it in black." And then she said, "Oh, sorry, it doesn't. The black is sold out."
Did you say to her, "You've got to be kidding"?
I said, "You've got to be kidding." And then
good,
I said, "I'll take the camel."
Oh.
And then I took it home, and it was a very expensive coat. I spent, more money than I usually spend on a coat. And then my hat didn't match, and my gloves didn't match, and so I had to go accessorize. And I just ended up spending a lot more money than I originally intended. So now I've told myself I have to wear the camel coat and all the accessories for 10 years.
What about the boots?
The boots?
I kept
boots.
my boots, which are
boots.
gray, and I had 2 people email me when I sent this out as a newsletter to say, "No, you should get rid of the gray boots. Just go buy some tan boots."
Yeah. You didn't do that. You didn't do that.
I didn't.
Did
So-
you say to them, "You've got to be kidding"?
I
Oh, no,
said,
thing
"You've
flying
got to
in
be
here."
kidding me. I've spent
You've
enough."
got to be kidding me. Why didn't you just borrow somebody else's coat or trade? Maybe trade.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, you could trade.
That would be a good idea.
Well, I like the way you look in that coat with the leopard accessories. I like leopard.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Camille does that too with the leopard.
Yeah, so in all seriousness, I think the point of this is you're conscious of how you spend your money.
I try to be.
And I think it's always a challenge for people, all of us, to say, well, how do I justify spending it on this?
Yeah.
And it's sometimes we say, well, it is a good investment to do this, and sometimes we just feel like being good to ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's
You have to balance,
I say, yes.
living now and living later.
That's right. Yes. So I think we're just about out of time.
Yeah, we are.
Well, that was fast.
I told
Yeah,
you.
see, we told you so.
Yeah.
We told you so.
Oh, there's lots more we could ask. Maybe you can come back on the show another time.
Well, thank you.
I
like
know we're
that.
going to get tons of questions here.
Yeah, I'm
What
sure
is
we
this?
are
What
too.
is that? And
So
and that
thank
always
you again.
happens.
And
you.
I'd like to thank our viewers for watching. This is a topic that a lot of people, as I mentioned earlier, feel a little inadequate about sometimes unless they're actively involved in managing their portfolios with stocks in them. So I very much appreciate it. I'm sure our viewers do too. And to our viewers,
I thought it was interesting.
please let us hear from you, whether you have questions about stocks or bonds, or you have any other questions or ideas
On
for future
leopards.
topics. Because
Question on
remember,
leopards.
this is your show, The Law, Your Money,
and
and
you.
You.